Claire arrived with the fog. It rolled across the highlands like breath, curling through the heather, veiling the stone walls, and softening the hills into watercolor. She stepped off the tiny local bus at the edge of a village too small for timetables, her satchel slung over one shoulder, fingers curled around the handle of a worn sketchbook. The village had a name, but it was the kind that only locals pronounce correctly, and even then only in whispers over tea or whiskey. She had come here years ago, just once, on a weekend retreat during her art school days in Edinburgh. Now something in her had returned. Not quite a calling. More like a question. What if the stillness still knew her? The path to her rented cottage wound past mossy fences, and a gate that creaked with a kind of welcome. The cottage itself was old stone, roof sloped like a nod, chimney already exhaling wood smoke from the caretaker's morning fire. Inside warmth. A kettle. A bookshelf lined with forgotten novels and field guides to birds and lichens. The fireplace glowed with a kind of memory. She unpacked little. Just her sketchbook. Her pencils. A scarf that still smelled faintly of linseed oil. By mid-morning, she was walking again. Leaves crackled beneath her boots, golden and copper and red like old paint. A light drizzle stitched the air. Sheep watched from behind crooked fences. A boy on a bicycle waved shyly. She found the lake where she had once painted a study of clouds. It looked the same, only quieter. Reeds swayed in slow conversations. A heron stood still as stone. Claire sat on a bench worn smooth by weather and time. She didn't open her sketchbook. Not yet. Instead, she watched. Waited. Let the silence seep in. At noon, she wandered into the tea room by the village green. A bell tinkled. The scent of cinnamon and damp wool, and something freshly baked drifted around her. She ordered tea and oatcakes. The woman behind the counter, gray hair in a twist, cardigan the color of fog, smiled like she knew exactly why Claire was here. Back to the quiet, are ye? She said. Claire nodded. No explanation needed. She walked to the village museum next. One room wood-paneled, filled with sepia photographs, hand-knitted jumpers, a longboat model, and glass jars labeled in Gaelic. In the back, an old typewriter held a single sheet of paper. Tell me what you remember, and I'll tell you what to keep. Claire smiled. Outside, the light began to soften. The kind of light that asks nothing of you except to notice. She sat beneath an ash tree and finally opened her sketchbook. No pressure. No plan. Just lines. Loose. Honest. A barn roof. The curve of a hill. The texture of clouds like stitched wool. When the wind picked up, she let the page go. It fluttered, spun once, then landed face down on the path. She laughed. In the evening, she returned to the cottage. Lit candles. Cooked a simple stew of lentils and carrots. Ate it with brown bread and butter while the fire cracked, and a radio whispered Gaelic folk songs. Then she sat by the hearth and read poems she half remembered. Later still, she stepped outside. The fog had lifted. Above her, stars sharp as flint, the Milky Way spilled like flour across a slate board. She breathed deep and whispered into the night. I remember now, and I'm ready. Back inside, she placed her sketchbook on the windowsill. Tomorrow she would paint. Tonight, she would sleep where the silence held her gently, like the land never stopped missing her. And the village, old and quiet and watching, would dream alongside her in rust and gold and silver fog.